Welcome back to another edition of Devout Deism. I am your host, David Robertson. Thanks so much for being a part of the program. Thanks for all the messages. Thanks for all the comments on the videos. And thanks for coming back and watching more. I wanted to talk about words today. This is important. And then not just words. I should say the context of the words, the spirit of the conversation. This is vital when we're talking about deism, and you'll notice that I do talk in definition quite a bit. There's a reason for that. So that way, if I say something and there's a little bit of confusion by it, you can go back and look at the definition of the word and get a better idea or some clarity on perhaps the message that I'm providing. It's kind of like the word mentor. All right, mentor. I've gotten some messages that there's no such thing as deist mentors, really. I would say that most people who are deist mentors. And I've talked about that, I think, in different videos and different posts over at Unified Deism. If you're sharing information, if somebody has a question about deism and you're sharing that information, guess what? You're mentoring that situation. You're a teacher. You're an educator. You're helping share information. You're spreading knowledge. You're a mentor. All right? If somebody wants to continue to come back, and that solidifies that mentorship. They're the mentee. They're trying to figure out more. They're learning more because you are obviously in a position where you're sharing that information. It's the spirit of the conversation. Nobody's saying anything about preachers and reverends and ordainment and da-da-da-da-da. But see, that's the preconceived notion. The context of the word, the definition of the word. Just because you grew up in some sort of church and you're trying to correlate one word with the other doesn't make it true. In fact, all that does is put you into a compromising situation because it demonstrates that you don't know what you're talking about. Right? So one of the things that we're going to talk about today, well, several things, is primarily based out of words. Okay? Context for the words. It's important. When you're addressing deism, it is vital to understand the words that we're talking about. The three words in question that continue to come up and that are continually debated, not only on this channel, but in numerous different realms of deism, are God, religion, and church. Three very different words that mean very different things and should not be confused with one another because they are not one and the same. They're just not. And let's break this down. God is the creator, right? God is the creator, and that's it. Really, that one's really basic. The deity is God. Okay? Now, religion is the belief in and worship of God. Are they connected? Sure. Are they one and the same? Absolutely not. Religion is the understanding, the appreciation of, the acknowledgement of God and a worship of. And however you do that, sometimes it is going to church. Sometimes it's sitting down praying, going on Sundays, Wednesdays. Whatever your God is, whoever your creator is, there's going to be different ways that you go about addressing and appreciating what your God has or is or done or whatever. Okay, which often does come into church. Okay, church is the building, is the structure, it is the organized component. It is the official governing body of a religious faith. But see, that's the irony when it comes to deism. Deism has God. Deism has religion. Deism doesn't have the church. We don't have official buildings. We don't have organized components, short of different groups and societies and things of that nature where we share and fellowship. But there's no official church. There's no place to go. There's no place to give money to. There's no tithing. There's no official governing body like, say, the Pope or anything even remotely close to that. We have different people who believe certain things and come together to fellowship. That's the closest we get to church. In fact, if you were to look at the term church, the way it was originally viewed as and discussed back in the day before there was official buildings, that's what church was. People coming together having fellowship over certain ideas. Okay? So that's what deism has. Deism is a religion by definition. And that has been, and I've been able, well, here, let me back up here. I have demonstrated that numerous times on my videos and in different postings over at Unified Deism. It's clearly a religion. but it's not a church. And their religion and church are not one and the same. And I can't stress that enough, because when we're talking about deism, it's just, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm a little frustrated because continually people will confuse the two in the debate, and you can't do that. Well, I mean, I suppose you can, but it literally just demonstrates a lack of information, essentially. And once again, one of the fundamental foundations of deism is the continual search for knowledge. All right? So search for that knowledge, search for that context. It's important. Okay? And another thing too, when we're talking about context of the words, especially when you're starting to dig into the history of deism, you have to use the proper context. Not the context of today, but the context of then. For instance, if you're addressing or researching Thomas Paine, who had some amazing ideas, of course, the Age of Reason, things of that nature. Did some amazing, in fact, I think Thomas Paine's probably one of the most underrated founders of the United States ever. But that's a different topic all the same. You have to provide, or you have to utilize the context of the time. Okay, it's like the word bear or regulated. During that time, they meant different things. Bear in the 1700s meant carry. Okay, people say carry today. It's different. All right. What else? Regulated. Regulated during that time meant well practiced, functioning properly. But not having that context, it changes the way that the word is used. And if it's utilized in a certain sentence and you don't have the context to it, it changes the way that the sentence is. Lost in translation. Okay, that is an actual term because people didn't have the context of the words. It is lost in translation. Okay, and that's the problem. It's like jet or squash today. It has numerous meanings. Okay, so you have to, it's the spirit of the conversation. And I'm encouraging people to stick with the spirit of the conversation. But those words, I think, are vital. Do not confuse those words, because you're doing yourself an injustice by doing so. People who have long argued and debated at length that they were atheists because they didn't believe in the church and they confused church with religion, missed out. And they've flat out told me, missed out so much because I was resistant against the word. You're resistant against the word because you don't have the context. You're not looking at the definition of. You're not pulling it together. It's the spirit of the conversation. So I guess my challenge is, or my challenge to everybody else, is to stick with the spirit of the conversation. There's a difference between God and church and religion. Understand these. And by understanding these differences, you can further educate yourself, because then it's no longer a biased situation when you're researching. Okay? So that's my advice for today. Take it for what it's worth. I want to thank everybody for leaving comments, for sharing the videos, and for keeping the spirit of the conversation moving. That does it for me today. I will try to get more videos out over time, and once again, I apologize for not being able to do it for a while, but hopefully I can make that change. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care.